My ex uses our daughters to try to win me over. That may not sound earth-shattering for others initially, but here's the kicker. Even though I'd rather not talk to her and want her to never reach out to me again, we have two daughters to think about with shared custody. I cannot erase her from the slate of my life, not without also wiping our daughters off of mine. So both of us married when we were 20, when we announced we had been dating 3 years ago. Our first year of marriage was complicated by our daughters' births, and it would take my ex-wife a long time to become pregnant again. That might have annoyed other people then, but I was just happy she came through the whole thing, and we already had 2 beautiful baby girls to love and care for. We were married for 9 years. It ended when I cheated on her and I left. Infidelity will not fly with me, and I'm not going to be suffering unnecessarily for something that I never did. I know it might sound incredible for some people, and it's understandable, but once I found out that she used to cheat on me and the reasons behind it, I didn't love her anymore, so I'm not saying I want her back. No. I left about 7 years ago. Hell, I don't even hate her. I honestly don't give a sayot what happens in her life outside of dealing with our daughters. The joke about it is, I'm the only one who's moved on. My ex-wife and her family, and even our daughters, keep trying to reunite, despite my numerous signals that I have no interest in this. Initially, I was out of the dating game for a few years after the divorce, so that probably added a pinch of false hope. But I was not going to jump from one relationship to another. My girls were a priority, and I had to work through my own issues with my ex's betrayal. Those are behind me with the help of friends and family and a little therapy. Not an issue. I can talk to my daughters, no problem. No fights, no yelling, no teenage rebellion, no tantrums. It's all been lovely. With one caveat. They know their mother cheated. It was she who had taken them to it, perhaps 3 years earlier. I bet she's been spinning them a kind of yarn ever since. I have explained over and over again that I don't want her to say nothing. It's not helping anyone. It's only holding them back and she can't stop. She simply became less overt about it as the years went on. She hasn't dated or slept with anyone else since we divorced. Perhaps she thinks this is noble. I don't. I mean, I'm sorry. I think it's kind of an insult. She was in a relationship with another man when we got married, but now she seems perfectly fine with being sexless for 7 years. Whatever. Now and then I wouldn't mind a little something about how their mother was looking like or sending me a picture of her. It's fine. I can ignore that. But it's gotten worse lately. Why? Because I have a girlfriend. Clemens is not the first woman I've been out with since getting divorced, but she is the most serious relationship I've had since getting divorced. She's also 8 years younger than I am. When we actually got together, we had been involved with one another for about 4 years through the same hobby. Pretty much, it was a transition from friends to lovers. All I can tell you is I love this woman. I was somewhat stunned when I registered it, though, because I kind of feared that my ex's treachery had shattered me beyond repair. I thought this would protect me from ever being able to love anybody the way I loved her. Initially, my daughters didn't have much to say about my relationship with Clemens, any more than they weighed in on the other 2 relationships I had after my divorce. But then they began coming home early, and they would find Clemens and I together. I get there. There's no sex or any inappropriate stuff that happened, and they start interrogating me. Why is she here? And, what you're doing is not fair to Mom. They acted like I was doing it solely to hurt their mother, which I wasn't. I've had them sit down and talk, they don't get it. They keep getting this feeling that I'm supposed to work things out with their mother. Clemens, fortunately, has what we want to have and doesn't take their behavior personally. She says that if we just have patience, everything will be all right, but I am starting to lose faith in that. It hasn't worked to this point, and I don't know that it would be any different now. So, having run out of ideas, I am asking for advice. What can I do so my daughters understand that I will never again be back together with their mother, no matter what? For their sake, as I've told dozens of people, their mother and I get along pretty well. But that's for their sake, not ours, so they don't appear to reach them. I even brought up her infidelity as a reason I can't be with her, and they knew that already. But she keeps returning to one refrain, and it's, "She's faithful to you now." When I explain to them she can't be loyal to me when she doesn't talk to me anymore, they just brush it off. The truth is, they never saw their mother cold or distant in relation to me. But they never got to see how she treated me in the affair she was having. It wasn't a one-off, too, and if it was, I would have divorced her. But it was more than that. Every time I tried to initiate intimacy, she pushed me away, and I became so heartbroken until, with the aid of a close friend, said, it was loud and clear. It wasn't me. She was wrong, and this is how I learned about the affair. I don't think they understand how painful it is and having, if you know your spouse who at that time didn't love you. That's why I refuse to take any of this shame or guilt that they're trying to put on me. What's the point? Where was all this love when it counted? They want to feel that it would be fine if we got back together, but they don't understand what it's like when you can no longer trust your partner. I hope they never understand that. I would never want either of them to be cheated on. My ex-wife and I have spent hours unpacking this. She just doesn't get it. I told her to stop saying anything about reconciling with our daughters, and I don't know if that registered. Recently, however, my daughters have been cutting back. Perhaps they're just tuning her out, and good for them. My ex-wife is free to do what she pleases, as long as my daughters are all right. My daughters and my girlfriend have been kinder. They were even chatting with Clemens instead of just making small talk. They've turned to her for girly stuff, which, to tell the truth, warmed my heart to see. I was surprised to find myself wanting to ask Clemens to marry me. She has lent so much support to all of this. We know each other for such a long time. We were together so much time. After everything we've been through, I thought there was no way I could love her any more than I already did. That is until 2 months ago, when Clemens, with my daughter's help, surprised me with a proposal. All I can say is, it was strange and delightful. Not only was it a proposal, and my daughters had teamed up with Clemens to take me to dinner and out for the night. I was blown away. We eloped with just our immediate friends and family. Now we're having a baby, and my daughters can't wait to spoil a baby brother or sister. My sister said we could date other people since we were not married. The following day, I phoned my parents and brother and exited the group. I just told them that I won't make them choose sides, but I will never speak to my sister again. So if they tried to come between us, I'd also stop speaking to them. My mother pleaded and begged and tried to negotiate with them, but my father and brother would support my decision. Other than my mother's 2 attempts, absolutely no communication has come whatsoever from my sister in 6 years. She's done everything possible to appease me, from showering me with costly gifts to squeaking her heels, but I'm not moving an inch. At a family gathering, I pretend she isn't there. Then she tried to be sarcastic, tried to create drama, and when no one was on her side, she surrendered. She did explode, however, when she found out she was invited to my wedding, but wouldn't be part of the planning process. My brother has had a bit of guilt about letting it go on for so long, and a bit of strain on my brother's relationship with my ex. They do speak to one another, but far less than they once did. Here's where this gets complicated. My mom's birthday was a few weeks ago, and I told her we're expecting our first child. It's not the first grandchild, but it is the first granddaughter. Well, everyone was excited except my sister. My mother had noticed and called me in for tea. I knew I felt terrible. My gut told me not to go, but I kept being hopeful. When I drove up, the first thing I noticed was my sister's car, and as soon as I walked in, there they all were. My sister, her husband, my ex, and his mother. They wanted to stage an intervention, telling me I'd been childish too long. My ex said he was just trying to be romantic, but he knew I couldn't appreciate it. His mother told me that I was hurting my sister, who just wanted the best for me and was sorry and asking that I forgive her. All the while, I had been texting my family, my dad, brother, husband, while I just stared at my mom in disbelief. Then my sister had the number fucking nerve to call me a fucking asshole because I had to fucking grow up now that I was going to have a fucking baby. My mom started by reading the letter she wrote, in which she explained how she was so sad that her daughters weren't close, how my sister was actually at fault but didn't mean it, and so on. Then my sister read her own letter, getting choked up and repeating for the most part what the others had said already. I just sat there and waited for my brother to come. Didn't say anything during it. He was angrier than I had ever known him to be. He was moving my stuff out, and he told me that he was really disappointed and just disgusted with what they had done. We walked outside and waited in his car until my dad and husband arrived. I was crying and my brother was apologizing about everything. I don't know what transpired in there, other than that I sent a group email and CC'd everyone except for my mom, with my lawyer's contact info, and informed everyone I no longer wished to hear from any of them. If I did, I would have called the cops. I haven't heard anything since then, but I know that I'm in the same panic as my dad, my mom, and my sister are. They said they wanted to make things work, and that my sister could be a part of my baby's life, maybe even a godmother. At the moment, my father is with my brother. They support me, but not all the family members agree. I ended up not telling them what was going on and saying I was busy, but mutual friends of mine have contacted me concerned about my sister's state of health and what had happened, since she is now saying my husband won't let me go back to my family. I hate going public with my private life, but I told everyone on Facebook once how things transpired and what my attitude was during all of it. My sister and her husband and my ex were called out too, and while that wasn't my primary intent, that was warranted, I think. My mom has remained inconsolable, which I should feel bad about, except I don't feel as bad as I felt after her intervention. When and how to set boundaries with my mom. I had agreed to speak to her a few days before, but established some pretty firm parameters for how this messaging would work going forward, in part. Therapy and family counseling. Clear lines not to be crossed. Also, don't disclose any information about me to my sister. I also told her if she ever pulled something like this again, she'd be cut off for good. She believes that's radical but will comply, except that she thinks this means everything will get baby updates instantly and nothing will break. I said, "It's no way like that, and you must prove you can do better." My father and brother have cut ties with my sister and thanked me for not doing anything sooner. They've given her a pass because they've been able to get past it, grow up, and evolve. My husband is on board with whatever choice I make, but my mother-in-law feels cutting off my mom from having access to her granddaughter is the right move. So when she asks me the question herself, she concludes by saying it's my call. I'm conflicted about what to do with my mom. I try to update, but I am not able to update. Thanks everyone for the amazing support and ideas. I'll respond to some of the most frequently asked questions in the comments below. There were too many to answer separately. My ex and I broke up at 18. He is now 37. By the way, the answer was that I did not want to marry or get engaged. My sister is always on my case about it because she's obsessed that we get married and we're best friends. My mom was very kind to my husband from the beginning, but I'm starting to think it was fake, which is so painful. My dad left and never came back because he bluntly told her that he was not going to support her terrorizing his daughter. Even my brother and his wife have gone no contact. I know this is all sudden, but I think I took how much despair all of this left me after the intervention for granted. My husband told them later that they're going to have to think about what's really important to them. The need to be accepting and loving towards all things, but we're not going to raise our child in that kind of environment. The toxic environment. Why I love him this much. I regret that my nephew is missing out on so much family because of my sister's misguided beliefs. But it is what it is. Just like she had done when my mother was not willing to hand over the baby in the first place, my lawyer sent my mom a letter saying that she had caused harm to my health and to my baby, and that anything that she was doing from now is taking legal action against her. I'm waddling through the holidays with my family and attempting to be healthy, as well as continuing my therapy.